Hey Gemini, this month you feel and are though I think that for the most part you may have gotten used to it by now. This Mercury retrograde in Libra is very much showing you where there's certain aspects in your relationships and certain relationships that you've had for a long time that are needing your Gemini, quick Gemini, short-term decision making. And then there's the other aspects where you need to look at it as like, especially if these people will be in your future in a particular way. All right, we'll leave that card out. Then you're thinking about it in terms of the long run, like what will this look like? Very Libra, like what will this look like down the road? Again, you can't be so sure, but how you handle a particular situation and particular relationships this month, that will play out differently down the road. There will be parts of you that definitely want to use that like very quick, decisive, cutthroat, I'm done with this, or I want to do this, and you just do it. That impulse will be very strong this month. Again, same thing, only if you know, or only if you can see this being beneficial for your future, whether that is positive or negative, whether or not you understand that this will be beneficial for your future. And again, even if it doesn't feel good, or if it doesn't necessarily, the situation doesn't play out the way that you would have hoped for, that doesn't mean it's not going to work out, right? Like, we all have to go through what we go through. We all react the way we react. And this retrograde is really very much in Libra, first of all, but it's causing you to think about what what this purpose is, like what the purpose of behind it all. And then also wanting you to become, and this came to me before, is that more and more that wise child that you are, that like your true nature is. And this gives you that balance. So if this month has been like a lot of work or very hard or feels very hard, it's really important that you find that play, that you find that freedom. And, you know, being that it's the relationship sign of getting together and doing things, do it with people that you love, maybe friendships. Doing that will be and can be very beneficial for you this month. Is really being around people who see your magic, who see how much you're transmuting, to see how and be there. The new moon in Libra was probably very, very exposing for you last week. So also the 6th was the new moon, and the 7th, Venus went into Sagittarius, which could have lifted some weight off of you just subconsciously, because it was in Scorpio for a while. And by the full moon in Aries, there will be a lot more clarity, because everything will have gone direct, and you'll have more clear. It's not so much you need clarity, you just need a clear direction to focus your energy. And that's what has been happening. And now that if you allow yourself to have that freedom and that play time that you really need, that rest time that you really need, do it. Because it's going in the long run, and by the end of the month, when everything, which is like only next week, or by the end of the season is only like a week or so away, you'll be able to see like how exactly where. So like, again, those short-term steps and those long-term steps, they look different depending, like long-term steps could be, 6 months down the road to 5 years, depending on how you think, or both. And then those short-term steps are still a part of the long-term. Hold on one second. Okay. So the really important thing about what you're seeing, what you're noticing, especially if there's a Sagittarius, Pisces, or Cancer in your life as well, there's a lot of exposure on what needs to shift and what you feel like you need to shift, what you feel like you need to change in terms of communicating how you feel, communicating your communicating your needs clearly, because you're able to do that, but not in all of your relationships. You don't allow yourself to do that because and this is also an air sign shift too. So because when you appear a certain way to people, this is very Libra right now, this is very Libra season, but this also applies to you as well. When you appear a certain way to people for so long, they become used to that version of you. And if people are only used to the version of you that you were at ... time in your life, at this time in your life, it may not match up. There might be certain qualities that stay. There may be certain similarities you still have, but you're not necessarily the same in the relationships that you began to create 3 to 5 years ago. And those are the relationships that are blatantly making you realize how different those ones are, and how from the really long-term relationships in your life. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at your decisions being, because you're like easy at making and being more sure about your long-term decisions, but the short-term decisions this month are very much going to affect those and how the other ones roll out. So when you need to communicate, it's very important that the way you do communicate with the people that you have created those very, for lack of a better word, conscious relationships with in the past 3 to 5 years, that needs to apply now to those long-term relationships, or they're not going to make it. At least right now, they won't be in your life as much. By the end of the month, they'll be very obviously need to be cut off, or a situation can cut them off. This is also going to change. So the reason why that's important to stress is because when everything goes direct, so Saturn went direct on Monday, yesterday, or 2 days ago, on the 10th. By the time this season comes to a close, all planets will have gone direct, Mercury and Jupiter as well, and then we'll have the full moon in Aries, and then we'll enter Scorpio season. So there's going to be a deep understanding and a very clear psyche and vision message that will come to you next season and towards the end of the season, but you cannot rush it. You get that. And that's why hanging out with people, doing things that help relax you in a time where it could go by so fast, and where a lot of people are agitated, that wise child in you needs to remember that you need that part of your life right now. That if you've been focusing solely on your purpose or work, or in a particular aspect of your life, even in your close relationship, maybe some of you are partnered, or in a work relationship, whatever it is, you're needing to take that space and pull back a little bit, because you're so intimate, you're so up close, you want to be there, you're so generous, you're a very generous human being, especially for those people that are in your life. And this is going to amplify your worth. This is going to amplify how you navigate yourself, your energy, because essentially your energy is your money, currency, energy, currency, money. One thing I always notice is that when I leave, even for like a couple days, and come back, my plants always grow a little bit. I find little babies, or they just grow. It seems like they've grown overnight, but this dominant energy that's in the space and knowing that I'm growing, once that leaves, the motherly figure leaves the space, it gives a chance for that environment, those things, those alive things to grow. I've noticed that with different relationships in my life, including my brothers. And it's very interesting and to understand that if you're the dominant figure in like a family unit or a situation at work, when you're taken away, you get like, when you're not totally in whatever you're doing or whoever you're with and totally in the situation, when you're able to take a step back and you're allowing yourself to choose that option instead of being so up close, you allow others to grow. You allow and you give opportunity for that space to grow. knowing that you helped create that, but you don't have to be a part of every part of it at this moment, which is good for you because you may have a few emotional releases this month and you need the space to have those. You need the space to create in your mind and your heart and your physical life to allow yourself that shift. Because this Mercury retrograde is really working on that. Yeah, that big shift from you not being able to give in the particular with the particular value attached to it. So now the way that you give and your generosity will be valued more. Your gift of that nature will be valued more by not only you, but the people you continuously choose to be a part of. Because by the end of this month, you may also notice that there are some relationships that just needed to end or needed to like stay where they are, or whatever it is, and however you choose to deal with it. But it's important that you not fight yourself about it, because you've been building this momentum to get here. And these fights or these doubts or these like very frustrating annoyances that can come up are just that. They're just coming up for you to understand that if you just take, so 6 to the 7, if you just take a step back and look at it, it's only a fight if you make it a fight. Right? You're only giving less than if you don't value yourself. And that's a different way of looking at how you choose to value yourself this month. And how does that affect the growth of the people around you, or the different aspects of people around you? And does it give room for it? Can you learn to be grateful for where everything is at in your life? Of course you can, but can you take a step back and look around? You know? There's something else I wanted to say. I'll come back. That happens sometimes. Yeah. It's become very clear to you. By the end of the month, it'll become even clearer and where your energy needs to focus, and how all of that which you've been given away and in a way that hasn't been reciprocal will be more reciprocal. And you'll feel stronger, more capable, even more capable, especially in relationships, how you relate, how you choose to relate, and how that lays a foundation of what is traditional for you, or what is becoming your sense of tradition. Because that's another thing, is like, what do you want? How do you want to lay the foundation for if you want a family to grow, if you want marriage, or if you're with a partner? This is very much a time where by the end of the month you can come together, and in just like about not even less than a week, you can come together. No, it's about a week. You can come together and really play on each other's values and realize what you value about partnership, what you value about love, how you want to build upon that, and what that looks like. And you'll have a much more clear idea of it, because whatever you've been confused about this month, because I know you've had some confusion about certain things, and certain things hit you in a way where you're like, oh, and you just didn't see it coming. Everyone had those surprises this month. And then it ultimately asks you to make a decision about the situation and how you want to handle it. And again, how you choose to handle any situation this month will be a part of the long-term effect and the short-term effect in just like a week. So a lot can change in Libra season. That's the magic of it. And you're seeing your magic, and how that long-term, short-term, long-term is very much a part of your true nature. And it's always a part of your true nature. It's a very opportune time to then put this energy towards whatever it is that you're creating, because you're going to feel so much more confidence, because this decision to you was huge. And you've been aware of it for a while, and now it's come really to the forefront. And it's changing the way you even think about your work and how you value your work and how you put value into your work. Because again, sometimes we need to take a step back from our work and experience life and know that that's a part of working, actually. That like the adventure, and it's a part of how you handle things and how you're capable and what you're capable of. And you know that, and you're so good at that. But this month, it's like, it becomes clear that you value that so much. And that's a part of the roots that you're creating. That's a part of the traditions that you're creating, the part of how you want your life to look moving forward, how you want to continue developing it with someone. And marriage may come up, or a deeper commitment is going to come up by the end of the month, possibly with a partner or with this version of yourself. It's going to solidify so that when we get to Scorpio season, it's really going to be sealed for you. And you may have, again, you may have some emotional releases, and it's that wise child in you that knows that while laughing is medicine, crying is also helpful, and anger is also helpful. So you're going to have all of those mixes, because that's also a part of being an air sign. Is like, we don't always get to choose when and how we feel, but when you do, it's so authentic to you. And it's so much a part of why you're the most human, right? So even any mistakes or mishaps or miscommunications that have happened in the past, you're going to find a way, I just got the chills, you're going to find a way to connect those, whether you have a conversation with someone or that conversation is with yourself and with your higher power. So that more and more has become prominent to you, but more and more you need it now. So if you're also resisting it, this will actually clear up a lot in your psyche that you may have been I think some of you have been asking for. So, and for those of you who want to go back to traditional school, it may be very good for you. It may be a good part in the next direction for you, or doing something that feels like you're going to school and you're learning something new. So this month you may want to try learning something new to even help take your mind off certain things, where that can be your playtime. That could be your sense of adventure, where learning something new is always an adventure for you. And that's a part of Gemini that's like always craving information. Cool, do that. It's going to help. It's only going to help all of this, because it felt a lot heavier than it actually is. I think for some of you, it just felt aggravating and agitating, but there's always a lesson in that. So information to work with me one-on-one is below, and payment options are below for that. And we'll look at the cards in the next portion of this, where you'll see it a little more clearly in the way I'm seeing it. I hope that you are feeling a little less agitated this week, but I still sense that you guys are still in that space of, okay, how much of a step do I take back? This month? You'll figure that out for yourself, and you'll rest in the ease that you're in the long term of things. You're committing to something even more than just the short term. Whatever emotions come up short term, that's just for right now. The friction is just right now. It's not forever. All right, Gemini, I'll see you in a moment, and I hope you have a great rest of your month. Hi, Gemini. 3 of Wands, Magician, Moon, Queen of Pentacles. All about what's kept you from being or adding even more value to the tools on your table, to the relationships in your life. It's all just revealing that. And at first it could cause you to feel confused. It could cause you to feel just all over the place, being a major air sign. It's the Mercury retrograde, but it's just very much refining your nature, your very generous nature with yourself and the people in your life. And it's very important for you to add that generosity to yourself, and to when you're being revealed something that you need to see a part of you that has been slowly becoming a part of your awareness, so that you don't give away and then become agitated, frustrated. It's more of like, where can I see this part of myself that not only I value, but the other people that value in my life? Where can I use this in a place that's way more committed to myself, my work, my energy, what I want in my life? That helps me help you work better. It's only going to help clear up a lot of questions that you've had as well. So any questions that you've had about how you see your life long term, whether in the traditional way, creating new traditions. This is a very simplified way of seeing all of this. Is like, where is it that you've been adding confusion and frustration by not allowing space for yourself to maybe not decide certain things, right? And like we said before, there's certain short-term decisions that you have to make this month, but then there are certain ones that you don't have to make when you feel confused. That's what Libra knows. You can be somewhat quick to decide when you don't care too much about control, but your decisions, yeah. Well, life in Libra season's like, okay, it's not time to quickly decide this, but you can decide this that will help you get closer and closer. So deciding to take a step back from certain situations, maybe from your work, from anything that you've been too close to this month or the past couple weeks. And that's also part of Mercury retrograde. So Saturn loosened it up a bit the other day, but the retrograde, when it goes direct, it will make more sense to you. So nothing too rash, unless you're very extremely certain it's something that's come up over and over again. Go ahead, make the decision, make the call, but understand and remember the certain ways that it could affect your future, that very step-by-step process. And know that it doesn't matter how it looks at the moment. It's like, any sickness or something like that, there still needs to be a fight inside to get rid of whatever you're trying to get rid of. There will be that moment of heat, but that will fizzle, only to show you where to focus your energy, where to focus this light, all of the energy that has been kind of waiting. It's been waiting. You felt it. Look at how beautiful this lighting is. You've been waiting for this, this moment. And by the end of the month, you'll have it. You'll get to connect to it in a deeper way, even with yourself, which will bring you even closer to those relationships that you value, those relationships that are going to continue to move forward. Everyone has some cutouts this month. And you have been taking this very step-by-step for a while now. And that's important. And yet, things will start to move faster by the time everything goes direct. And you want to have a clear focus. So maybe making that question your intention of like, how do I serve myself best right now so I can have a clear focus by the end of the month? And as clear as you can get, because again, that's also an ebb and flow. But this deeper connection you have with your intuition and creative intuition and that creative passion is going to be lit up by the energy that has been waiting for you to tap into. And for some of you, it's about how you want to carry out your own traditions, how you want to start a very solid foundation, and you're going to become very clear about it, which spiritually, making that boundary, making that very clear, cutthroat certainty, I know this, ... it's going to bring so much to you that you may feel a little overwhelmed at first, but in the best way possible. It's only opening up your heart more. Again, if you're going the traditional route with school or any type of schooling or place that you can learn and invest yourself in, investment, that's a good one. The investment in this is going to help you so much and only going to exceed your expectations for your future. As long as you really commit to that process. Don't commit to anything half-assed this month. If it's a half-assed commitment, it's a no. That's where sometimes it's important to be very clear on those very important values that are only the foundation of the extension of all the other parts of your life. Yeah. And you might have conversations about your future. If you're partnered, there will be a beautiful conversation that might turn out better than you expect. The fight is about you opening up in a different way in relationships that you found trust and worth in. It's a really beautiful time of change for you. And by Scorpio season, there will be you'll go through a much deeper understanding of it all. So take it for what it is right now, and also go have yourself some fucking fun, honestly. If you're not, and just go connect with your people, because this will all work itself out. Also, another thing to remember in Libra season, you don't have to do all the work. You have to do the work where you haven't been doing the work, but where you have been doing the work, you can just like let that be and chill. Okay? I love you so much, and I'll see you next month. Bye, Gemini.